Alright, so here's my quarter round.
Quarter rounds.
There's my mark. And I've got two 45-degree cuts that I need to make. And one's going this way, and the other one is going this way. Alright, so I got my piece of wood in there. There's 45, there's 45. I'm actually going to saw it backwards so you can see how this works. Looking straight down on the blade. And I'm going to cut the other end. Remember, I need to have it a little bit longer so that if I need to straighten anything out, I can do that. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. See how much easier that is going the right way? Okay, now we got our piece cut. See how it fits. Perfect. Okay, put some glue on this and pin nail it in.
T. It's a nail gun. T. It's a nail gun.
It's not a structural piece, it's trim. I'll do the other side. Got some glue on there.
The spitting? Let's be grateful he's not a chef.
Spit is a wonderful cleanser.
Oh, and now he's bragging about the spit?
It has enzymes in it.
If he were a chef, he'd be like, spit makes a wonderful seasoning. It has flavor in it.
Flavor's good. I like flavor.
T. It's a nail gun. T. It's a nail gun.
Appellation measuring mark. Cut. Remember to cut a little bit bigger in case you need to make any adjustments. We're back to this shelf that we're making. I got it all set up here. Got a 40 grit sandpaper on here. It's just another piece of plywood again. My putty's all dry, and I'm going to start sanding it down. Okay, I got some touch-up work with some cracks. That happens sometimes. Like I said before, don't be afraid to use this stuff. They use it in the factory too. And give it a couple minutes for it to dry. And then I'll hit this top piece with some 100 grit sandpaper or 120, whatever I have around, something around that grit. Okay, all sanded down, ready to be finished. Just blow some dust off of it. Okay, I got my stain here, and gotta stir it up.
Okay, James Bond. Stirred, not shaken. I see how it is.
One of the things you don't want to do, especially with a stain that has polyurethane in it already, is you do not want to shake it up.
Stirred, not shaken.
You want to stir it.
Stirred, not shaken.
The reason you want to stir it
Stirred, not shaken.
is because if you shake it, it'll get little air bubbles in it, and those air bubbles will transfer right onto the piece that you're trying to stain. So I will stir
Stirred, not shaken.
it up. Notice I'm taking these long even strokes all the way across the board. What that does is it makes nice long lines, and they're harder to pick up with your eye when you're looking at it. So it looks like the stain is actually the grain.
The stain is the grain. The stain is the grain.
Stain to dry on that shelf that the guy said he wanted. Yeah, after the fact. Oh, could you put an extra shelf in there? Well, yeah, I guess I can. So, what I've got is I've got a couple of pieces of wood that I found in my scrap bin. Scrap bin, scrap bin, scrap bin, scrap bin, scrap bin, scrap bin. So I've got these couple of pieces of wood, and I'm just gonna sit them on here for now and try to mark this out. And what I'm marking is where I want to put the holes. I want a hole to put a screw down this way on all of them, and it needs to be out fairly close to the edge because that's all the meat that I have. The rest of it's all that real thin wood. So I want a hole this way, and then I also want a hole going up through the other way, so that what I can do is I can screw it onto here, and then I can screw it up into the shelf, and that will be how we will mount the shelf. Just gonna mark these. Now of course I don't want the screws to hit each other, so I need to offset this screw over this way, and I'm making sure that I'm marking this on the bottom, because that way I'll know which way these pieces go on there. Mainly because I'm going to drill a hole through so that the wood doesn't split when I put a screw into it. But I'm also going to counterbore.
Counterbowl? That's sort of like if we've got two bowling balls and they're like hitting each other. I think that the word that the Barefoot Craftsman wanted was counterbore.
The hole so that the head of the screw is down inside the wood. Alright, what I got here is what's called a pin drill. It's shaped like a pin, but it also will provide the countersink that I need for the head of the screw.
Okay, now we're talking countersink, but I think that is in fact a real thing.
Screw. If you can see that, it's actually tapered for the head of the screw. It actually kind of looks like a screw. So I'll put that in. Ow, just pinched myself.
Ow! He wins the injury. This means the project must be almost complete.
Okay. A little bit of stain on these things. Okay, here we go with the second coat.
Yeah, I'm loving the nurse's gloves there.
It's a good idea to hit the bottom of this thing too, because it'll help protect the wood. The stain is drying over there on that other piece that we made earlier, and I'm going to attach these pieces now. So I'm going to screw them down in now. Okay, now we have something for the shelf to rest on. And while we're waiting on that other shelf to dry, we are going to sand down these completed, or well, they're not completed. We're going to sand down these pieces here. If you remember what I was trying to say about them not quite being smooth yet, well, I'm going to add an additional layer of polyurethane on top of these. And the reason why I'm going to do that is to give it that glossy, glass-like finish so it's very smooth. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take off some of the stain that I just put on simply by using some 220 sandpaper and my power sander. You can just hit them with a piece of steel wool. It's triple aught, it's 3 zeros steel wool, and that will do a good job of getting it down so that it's a little bit smoother. The only reason I use the 220 on the top and bottom is because they are the showcase pieces. They're the pieces that most people look at. So, just going to put some polyurethane on these now. This is a fast drying polyurethane. This is a nylon acrylic brush. You want to use a nylon acrylic brush with polyurethane or any other oil-based product. And what I'm doing is I got some stray bristles. I'm just trimming them back so that they don't leave streaks. Okay, I got the other pieces here. They're ready to go with the polyurethane. So I'm going to do this a different way this time. Yes, I'm just going to pour it on. Okay. Okay, yippee!
Yippee! It's dry!
Here we go, let's put it together. Everything's dry. Everything's dry. Everything's dry. There it is. Another project completed by the Barefoot Craftsman.
Well, it's done. If you're wondering how long it actually took me to make that TV stand restored back to a usable state from the junk piece of particle board TV stand that it was, the actual product time that it took to finish that TV stand, including the dry time for the finish itself, was only 3.5 days. It may have seemed like it took forever, but it got done. The next time, we'll be flipping a coin and we'll find out what we're going to do. Either the swinging bench or the bar stools. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.